riangkanlah jiwa hamba, murnikanlah hati hamba, terangilah pikiran hamba. Hamba menyerahkan segala urusan hamba ke dalam tangan-Mu. Engkau pembimbing dan pelindung hamba. Hamba tak akan lagi bersedih dan susah hati. Hamba akan menjadi manusia yang bahagia dan gembira. Ya Tuhan, hamba takkan lagi diliputi rasa cemas. Tak pula hamba akan membiarkan kesusahan membingungkan hamba. Hamba tak akan memikirkan soal-soal kehidupan yang tak menyenangkan. Ya Tuhan, Engkau lebih ramah kepada hamba daripada hamba kepada hamba sendiri. Hamba menyerahkan diri padamu, ya Tuhan. Forget not my bounties while I am absent. Ahmad, forget not my bounties while I am absent. While I am absent. Remember my days during thy days, and my distress and banishment in this remote prison. Remember my days during thy days, and my distress and banishment in this remote prison. And be thou so steadfast in my love that thy heart shall not waver, even if the swords of the enemy's rain goes upon thee, upon thee. And all the heavens my days, during thy days, and my distress and banishment in this remote prison. Remember my days, during thy days, and my distress and banishment in this remote prison. And be thou so steadfast in my love that thy heart shall not waver, even if the swords of the enemy's rain blows upon thee, upon thee. And all the heavens and the earth arise against me, against thee. And all the heavens and the earth arise against thee, against thee, against thee. Remember my days, during thy days, and my distress and banishment in this remote prison.
On a hot and sunny afternoon in Shiraz in May of 1844, the young cleric Mulla Husayn was about to step out of obscurity into world history, and he didn't even know it. He was there to fulfill the mission he had learned from Sayyid Kazim and the Sheikhis and Sheikh Ahmad. And he had arrived in Shiraz to seek the promised one of the age. When he was at the city gate, he saw a young man whom he believed to be probably another Sheikhi. He had a green turban, which meant he was a Sayyid. And he went up to the young man and was very taken by his whole manner and his whole disposition. And being as it was evening was approaching, the young man said, "Come on over to my home for dinner and leave your companions," because Mulla Husayn had come with some others. "Leave your companions to the care of God, who will watch over them." So they made their way through the old city of Shiraz, and they arrived at the home of the Bab. And there it was a wooden door with a big knocker. And Mulla Husayn remembered, "We soon found ourselves standing at the gate of a house of modest appearance." He knocked at the door, he the Bab, which was opened by an Ethiopian servant. "Enter therein in peace," were his words, as he crossed the threshold and motioned me to follow him. His invitation, uttered with power and majesty, penetrated my soul. You stepped out of the street in those days. Those houses were walled in. You stepped out in the street into a small courtyard. So it would have been very refreshing. There would have been a pool, a little pool there, an orange tree, and Mulla Husayn was invited upstairs into the upper room. When they were seated, Siyyid Ali-Muhammad, the young man, asked Mulla Husayn, "What is the object of your journey? What is the object of your quest?" Which they must have been talking about. And Mulla Husayn told him about the Sheikhi teachings and the search for the promised one. And he told this young Sayyid, "These are the signs that I was told to look for." Siyyid Ali-Muhammad looked at Mulla Husayn and said, "Behold, all these signs are manifest in me." Now this was coming from a 25-year-old young man who was a couple of years younger than Mulla Husayn. Not a bearded, elderly, great mujtahid, this simple young man. Mulla Husayn was really quite shocked by this statement. And so he began to think of some arguments to counter this. What could he say to this? And so finally he dragged out a theological essay, because in those days the way you did religion is you wrote long theological essays. And he brought out a theological essay that he had written, and he wanted to use it to test this young man and see what he would say. So he handed it to Siyyid Ali-Muhammad, who then looked at it, kind of looked over like this, just kind of quickly. And then the young man, without even any hesitation, revealed aspects, hidden meanings in the essay that Mulla Husayn had written that even Mulla Husayn hadn't thought about himself, which astonished Mulla Husayn. And then, out of nowhere, Siyyid Ali-Muhammad said, now I'm going to reveal to you a commentary, or I'm going to write to you a commentary on the Surah of Joseph. The Surah of Joseph is a surah from the Quran. And Mulla Husayn was again greatly surprised by this, because Sheikh Ahmad and Sayyid Kazim had said that this would be one of the things that the promise of one of the age would do. He would reveal an extensive, highly original commentary on this great Quranic chapter. And then the Bab began to reveal it. And by reveal it means he was writing it, and while he wrote, he chanted it. And he did it without stopping. Mulla Husayn wrote, the overpowering effect of the manner in which he wrote was heightened by the gentle intonation of his voice, which accompanied his writing. Not for one moment did he interrupt the flow of the verses which streamed from his pen. I sat enraptured by the magic of his voice and the sweeping force of his revelation.
In the garden of thy heart, plant not but the rose. eschew all fellowship with the ungodly. Oh friend, oh friend, oh friend, oh friend, oh friend, oh friend of mine. In the garden of thy heart, plant not but the roses of love, of love.
Mulla Husayn knew when he heard this that this is the person whom he had sought. This is the one whom all the Shahi students were looking for. Mulla Husayn was completely enraptured by what he heard. And what he heard was a commentary on the story of Joseph, who was a figure, many of you probably know him from the Bible. The story of Joseph is one that Mulla Husayn and all Muslims like him knew, because Joseph appears in the Quran. Joseph was the youngest son of the patriarch Jacob. Jacob saw his youngest son as having prophetic powers, and so he was particularly caring about him. And this made the other brothers jealous, and they conspired and they dumped him in a well. He was found and brought into Egypt, where he was thrown into a prison. But the word got out that he had these powers of interpretation. And when the king needed to have some dreams interpreted, he brought Joseph out to interpret the dreams, and that Joseph's interpretation of those dreams really helped the king a great deal. So soon Joseph became a very powerful person in Egypt. He had gone from being a discarded, rejected boy to becoming a powerful member of the court in Egypt. And this, in a very real way, kind of prefigures what happened to the Bab. The Bab was a prophetic figure. The Bab was completely rejected. He was made a prisoner very soon after he declared his mission, and would be dragged from one location to another, one prison to another, and eventually executed. The Bab was the Qaim, the one who would arise. But he was also the bringer of an entirely new revelation of God. What Mulla Husayn didn't know, and what Shoghi Effendi would later explain, is that the Bab was the Lord of the age, the one who would annul the Quranic laws that had guided tens of millions of people in that part of the world for hundreds of years. He was the primal point through which divine revelation would flow. He was a mouthpiece of God himself. And as Shoghi Effendi explained, the Bab also would be the herald of a second divine outpouring, whom we as Baha'is know to be Baha'u'lláh. Mulla Husayn could not have known any of those things at that time, but what he knew is the Qaim had arisen, the promised one had arisen, and he devoted his rest of his life to the fulfillment of whatever the Bab asked him to do, to the point of, in the end, giving up of his own life. With the appearance of the Bab, a great power was released into the world. When the Bab was finished, he saw the effect he had had on Mulla Husayn, who knew this story well and had just heard this powerful revelation. And Mulla Husayn looked overwhelmed, and the Bab said, "Don't leave. We're going to stay here, and we're going to have food together." And the Ethiopian servant brought dinner, and they broke bread together, and they ate, and they continued speaking through the night. The only thing that interrupted it was the call to prayer at dawn. And Mulla Husayn then kind of awoke from this powerful spiritual experience, and it was now time to go. And Siyyid Ali-Muhammad looked up at him and said, "O thou who art the first to believe in me, verily I say, I am the Bab, the gate of God, and thou art the Babul-Bab, the gate of that gate. 18 souls must, in the beginning, spontaneously and of their own accord, accept me and recognize the truth of my revelation. Unwarned and uninvited, each of these must seek independently to find me. Mulla Husayn remembered hearing these words and being struck like a thunderbolt had hit him. And he stepped out into the street, a man completely transformed by the experience he had just had. He remembered, the knowledge of his revelation had galvanized my being. I felt possessed of such courage and power that were the world, all its peoples and its potentates, to rise against me, I would, alone and undaunted, withstand their onslaught. The universe seemed but a handful of dust in my grasp. I seemed to be the voice of Gabriel personified, calling unto all mankind, awake, for lo, the morning light has broken. Arise, for his cause is made manifest. The portal of his grace is open wide. Enter therein, O peoples of the world, for he who is your promised one is come.
I am the mystic faith. I am the mystic faith, which the hand of omnipotence hath reared. I am the lamp which the finger of God hath lit within its niche, and caused to shine with deathless splendor. That supernal light that glowed upon Sinai in the gladsome spot and lay concealed in the midst of the burning bush. Promised one. I am the 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 one whose name you have for 1,000 years invoked, at whose mention you have risen, whose advent you have longed to witness, in the hour of whose revelation you have prayed God to hasten
Hello everyone, we are the Asdani family living in Vienna, Virginia, and we wanted to share in honor of the Declaration of the Bab, a version of one of the Bab's prayers. You guys ready?
I'm ready.
Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh. Oh God, my beloved, my heart's desire. Oh God, my beloved, my heart's desire. Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh. Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh. Oh God, my beloved, my heart's desire. Oh God, my beloved, my heart's desire. Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh. Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh. Oh God, my beloved, my heart's desire. Oh God, my beloved, my heart's desire. Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh. Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh. Oh God, my beloved, my heart's desire. Oh God, my beloved, my heart's desire. Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh. Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh, Ya Baha'u'lláh.
La
che ognuno di voi concentri i suoi pensieri, concentri i suoi pensieri sull'amore e sull'unità. Quando un pensiero di guerra sorge nella vostra mente, contrastatelo con un più potente pensiero di pace. Un pensiero d'odio deve essere annientato da un più forte pensiero d'amore, un più forte pensiero d'amore. Che ognuno di voi concentri i suoi pensieri, concentri i suoi pensieri sull'amore e sull'unità. Che ognuno di voi concentri i suoi pensieri, concentri i suoi pensieri sull'amore e sull'unità. Quando un pensiero di guerra sorge nella vostra mente, contrastatelo con un più forte pensiero d'amore. Che ognuno di voi concentri i suoi pensieri, concentri i suoi pensieri sull'amore e sull'unità. Che ognuno di voi concentri i suoi pensieri, concentri i suoi pensieri sull'amore e sull'unità. Che ognuno di voi concentri i suoi pensieri, concentri i suoi pensieri sull'amore e sull'unità. Che ognuno di voi concentri i suoi pensieri, concentri i suoi pensieri sull'amore e sull'unità. Che ognuno di voi concentri i suoi pensieri, concentri i suoi pensieri sull'amore e sull'unità.